Have you ever heard about MMDEM's method, which can help you learn any language efficiently? If not, this video is definitely for you. Hola, soy Natalia, and today I am going to share my MMDEM's method, which stands for Memorize and Master, which I used for learning Spanish. As we embark on our language learning journey, we obviously begin with learning new words and phrases. I am not an exception, and I also started with learning vocabulary. But it wasn't about passively absorbing information. My studying was about active engagement. Here I mean that I didn't learn lists of new vocabulary. No, I memorized only those words which I needed for communication. Don't cram the words. It's not only dull, but it also demotivates you. Another important thing is to pay attention to the context in which the words are used. Language is not just a combination of words. It's not static. That's why it's crucial to learn the words in the context. Let me illustrate what I am talking about. Have a look at these sentences. Me lavo las manos cada día. No lo puedo soportar más. Me lavo las manos. In the first sentence, the phrase lavarse las manos means to wash your hands, but in the second, it means to shirk a responsibility. Or there is an expression, dar calabazas. The literal translation is to give pumpkins. However, it can be used in a situation when you turn somebody down. Le di calabazas. Interesting fact, in Ukraine, if the girl didn't want to get married, she gave pumpkin, in Ukrainian harbuz, to the guy, which meant nothing more than a refusal. Hence, in Ukrainian there is also an idiomatic expression with the same meaning as in Spanish, date harbuza. Well, let's move on because I can give you lots of examples proving that context is crucial. Being surrounded by Spanish people and culture, I had a chance to hear how native Spanish speakers used words in real life. So it helped me naturally memorize various words combinations, and later on I used them on my own. Well, you might say not everyone has an opportunity to study Spanish in Spain, Argentina or Mexico. Well, that's 100% true, but it's possible to imitate a language environment. When I came back, I created an imitation of Spanish environment. I tried to immerse myself in the language at home. Thank God we live in the age of various technology, so it's no biggie. The main sources which I used and continue using for memorizing and mastering Spanish are YouTube videos, streaming services, and certainly language learning apps like LinguaPie. Effective communication involves both speaking and listening, and for this reason, developing strong listening skills is essential for understanding conversations. Even with an enormous vocabulary, but without developed listening skills, you won't be able to communicate with others. As the main reason for learning Spanish was communication with people, I mainly practiced listening and speaking skills and rarely honed writing skills. My lessons usually looked like this. I found a video on the topic which was to my liking, watched it several times. The amount of re-watching could reach up to 15 plus times. What initially seemed like a rapid-fire exchange of words gradually became clearer. I could follow dialects, grasp plot twists. The feeling of understanding Spanish was immensely pleasant. The best thing about LinguaPie is subtitles in two languages. I chose English and Spanish. Learning a language can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be boring. My MMDEM's method is all about making learning fun. In LinguaPie, you can click a word and see its meaning every time you don't know it. It means you don't have to lose a lot of time writing down the word, searching it in the dictionary. It saves you a lot of time and effort. Watching videos and movies also played a key role in practicing my speaking skills. I began by mimicking the character's line, copying their pronunciation and intonation as closely as possible. There is a sidebar script that shows you all the sentences of the movie. Over time, I progressed from parroting to engaging in spontaneous conversations with the screen. You should try it too, believe me, it works. What I really like about LinguaPie is a wide selection of content in Spanish language variants. I learned Castellano, which is the main Spanish dialect, but Spanish is so diverse, you shouldn't forget about other dialects and variants. As I watched and listened mainly in Castellano, I found it very difficult to grasp Argentinian or Chilean. It shouldn't be a surprise for you because different regions may have unique vocabulary, idiomatic expression, and obviously slang words. Let me give some examples. In Castellano, there is a verb coger, which means to grab or take. It can be used in a variety of contexts, from taking taking the bus, coger el autobús, to picking up a pen from the floor. But in Latin American Spanish, it means a vulgar word. For this reason, it's important to listen to various dialects and enrich your vocabulary, gain a deeper understanding of how words are used in context. If you're just starting learning Spanish or you've already achieved some level, it's a great app. Besides, you can learn Portuguese, German, French, Italian, Russian, Japanese, or even Chinese. LinguaPie offers a 7-day free trial and 55% on the annual plan. Check the link in the description below. Listening and watching in Spanish really helped me to get to the next level of Spanish. What also helped me boost my skills was reading. I began with Spanish children books with colorful illustrations and simple sentences. But now I understand this was a huge mistake because fairy tales contain the vocabulary that you won't use in your daily conversations. Besides, grammar was quite complex, so I spent lots of time trying to understand all those structures. Then I decided to read ordinary books, not adapted ones. That was my second mistake. My unprepared brain was shocked with the amount of new information and almost exploded. As you might guess, I just gave up. You might think that in this case it's useless to read if you have A2 level of Spanish. I must warn you that such a thought is quite wrong. Reading in a foreign language, even at an A2 level, is highly beneficial and important for several reasons. First of all, thanks to reading, even adapted stories, I expanded my vocabulary and reinforced my understanding of grammar rules and structures. While reading, you see how sentences are constructed, how verbs are conjugated, and how different tenses are used in context. So I highly recommend that you start with reading adapted Spanish books, and later on, when you already have some baggage of knowledge, you can move on reading in the original. MMDEM's method is about memorizing and mastering what you've learned. It covers all the areas of learning: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Thanks for watching. Ciao!